at you. Yes, I'm going to break into whatever this impeachment sham thing that they're doing us today, this yawn fest. And so before I get into this, I have brand new merchandise. Pit Boss 2000, PC Death Squad, Prohibition 2000 merch is available at weaponsgradefaith.com. You can get the link at johntoll.net, or you can get the you can just go to weaponsgradefaith.com and check out the merchandise that's over there. Yes, I've got stuff coming my way. I cannot wait to rock that new Pit Boss 2000 hoodie, the 2000 attack hoodie. That's right. The hammer and sickle crossed out. The swastika crossed out. It's America first, folks. It's your liberty first. And anyone who's trying to sell out your very, very liberty for a foreign government is not your friend, and they're not being a great American. So support America, support freedom of speech, and thank you for being a part of this program here on Iron Brigade. Find us at IGTV, at Real John Toll, Twitter, all that good stuff. Go to my Facebook page. Wherever you find it, then find it and share it. This the kind of stuff isn't going to be found in algorithms and all that, because it's not the main media voices that are being propped out there. This is not going to be an emotion-driven thing. This is not going to be a partisan thing. This is going to be, is there a crime? Well, then show me. Do you just believe there's a crime because you always believe there's a crime because you don't like the single person? Then the evidence is going to be there. Yeah, I'm going to see it. You're going to see it. People are going to choose not to see it, or they're going to be so blind and complicit in the process that they themselves are not going to be able to see it. So enjoy this quick breakdown as I finish this, and we got to get through this show. We'll see how long it is. God bless America. I've got a scant few minutes here. Nadler empties out his oversized pants as they read his own quotes from 20 years ago back at him as he is in the middle of this sham, this one-sided, this completely non-bipartisan move, one party's witch hunt to overthrow the election that they tried to rig and they got caught rigging, and the people who caught them rigging it found 5 huge cities that they were able to do an operation in and undo the rigging enough to guarantee Donald Trump's win. And now you know, and they're pissed because they all cashed checks and they've all shaken hands. This is how it goes, folks. The people who have the most money in the world know that when all of this data comes up and we all know each other's thoughts in real time and quantum AI becomes a reality, that they're going to have to pay. That the games that they've been playing with the rank and file and having people pay for insurance that they can't afford, for treatments that they rightly deserve as a human right, the fact that certain parts of the world are held down in a third world status because it's more profitable will be known. And those people will be looking for their pound of flesh. And simply put, somebody's going to have to pay the bill. And they're going to pay it in their own blood, or they're going to pay it in confiscated funds, or they're going to pay it, well, based on the plan that had been put in place. I like to say this because it's very, very easy to think about. Consider somebody's wealth who has 13 or 14 zeros at the end of it. Is that the richest person in the world? Top lizard? Probably. Okay? So the 13 and the 14 zeros have all working together to ensure that the people with the 6, 7, and 8 zeros are going to work on their behalf to convince the public to demand the money from the 9 zeros to the 12 zeros. And those are the people who are going to have to pay. And they know they're going to have to pay. And if you knew that a family of 4 on a monthly basis was going to cost here in the United States on an average basis $2,000 a month per family for the rest of their lives, and they got to pay, would they choose that amount of money, or would they choose the cost of living that it takes to keep that same family of 4 alive in a communist dictatorship, a totalitarian communist dictatorship of China, where that same family can be raised for $200? So if you know you got to pay the freight, are you going to pay the $2,000 and keep capitalism in order, to keep everyone's freedom in order? or to save that 18 hundo a month, would you gladly sell out the citizenry, gladly sell out their freedoms, their rights by handshake across every level of this encroachment of communism to come into these borders using socialism, democratic socialism, the handouts and promises that are never kept? You get a guy who's finally keeping his promises, and here they are. He's getting freaking impeached in a sham hearing. One-sided facts. You had a fact witness who was also you have a fact witness, Adam Schiff, who also ran the kangaroo court, who also said what the rules are, who laid every single rule against this dude, and they still can't find a crime. This isn't even a balanced process. It's 3-1. People are seeing it for what it is. The shrill lady who's fucking extra angry. She said she was mad that they had said that she hadn't read all. She said she read every single bit of testimony from a live setting. Did she? Because I don't think Atkinson's testimony has been released. So she either lied or she's read that testimony. Nobody else has read it because they have not released it. And they have not released it because it's damning. Because you're going to find out that Mr. Atkinson worked with the whistleblower, worked with the changing of the documents, worked with Schiff's office, that they were all working together in this. And that is why that transcript cannot be released, because that shit is its own fucking undoing. If you want a quick look at, all right, here's the thing. Imagine this. You're sitting and you're playing Texas Hold'em. You've got Schiff World over here and Trump World over here. They're in the red deck casino because Trump fucking won. And his fucking name and his fucking red color cards are right there on the table. And here they are, and everyone gets their fucking dealings. And now they're doing their back and forth. And now when it's time to lay the cards down, Trump says, hey, I didn't do anything. I've got fucking aces. Here's the ace of clubs. Here's the ace of spades. And the Democrats go, all right, well, here are my cards. It's the ace of clubs and it's the ace of spades. And then we find out that it's out of their deck because the back of those cards are blue. And how were they able to do that? That's not what they want you to talk about. The eye in the sky, the people who watch the gambling going on, that are hired by the red casino to watch the gaming to make sure that it's fair, are going to show you step by step what happened, okay? And then how people from the blue deck casino worked their way into security for the red deck casino and were looking the other way when those blue cards got put in the game. Here's how it goes, folks. All of us in humanity that were raised on fair play, that may have had a team sport. Maybe you played a card game of your own growing up. Candyland, Monopoly, whatever it was. There were rules, folks. And you knew when somebody was cheating. You knew when somebody was playing a game of Candyland and they reordered the fucking cards up top and told you not to shuffle it, and then they won in 3 moves. And you go, well, isn't that silly? And isn't this silly? Because what we have now is both sides claiming a win. Except we know for a fact that all of this is based on accusation. None of it is based on fact. It's all based on hearsay. Nobody's seen, witnessed, heard anything. And this is where it's all going to come down, folks, because if you ever wanted to undo somebody that is seeking to only, basically at this point, use any seditious or treasonous process to get their power back to ensure the encroachment of China's policy against the very, very liberty of the United States. And don't think that's not happening. Because those checks have been cashed. All those people making the human trafficking money at the border using the cartels are fucking terrified that they're going to be labeled a terrorist resource or whatever the fuck they're going to call them. What it comes down, folks, is in this casino, the American public who was raised on procedurals, who was raised on fair play, who knows a railroad job when they see it, because how many episodes of Law and Order have you watched? How many episodes of Court TV have you watched? Do you know what evidence is? And now we've got like, oh, it doesn't even need to be a crime. It just needs to be the appearance of a crime. Okay. And now we're in this. Because it's not fact, it's just an accusation. Again, it's a bombshell because it's empty. Because there's no bomb in the shell. And that's how they continue to get this going. So I want to know, did this lady read the Atkinson transcript? More than likely she didn't. And she's going to have to say that she didn't. And that's going to beg the question, why was it not released? We're going to find out that Atkinson, Schiff, his office, and Ciaramella were all working together. Remember, Schiff selling as soon as he found out that Mueller had nothing on him. He was on the phone that very day. When as soon as Schiff was made aware of the call, he was on that phone that very next day hiring Ciaramella. Ciaramella, again, one of my favorite things, Nellie Orr, a woman of advanced age that just decides one day I'm going to get into a ham radio. What's a fucking hobby? That sounds exciting for everybody, doesn't it? And she goes out and she legally gets her ham radio license. And Eric Ciaramella gets his 1 month later. What are the odds of that? And so are all of these people working together to make sure that enough of the policy that was in place for the bought and paid for Clinton presidency, which is now being undone, which is now Pelosi going across the pond and saying, no, we're still in the fucking Paris Accord despite what this guy says. And China's still playing the long game and hold it out, hoping he's not going to get reelected. But the American public is looking down at that card table, and they're seeing that somehow both sides, accusing each other of a conspiracy, have both flopped an ace of clubs and an ace of spades. One has the color of the deck of the game that's being played inside of the casino that's being played, and the other that didn't even bother to get the back of the cards right. And they're going to be like, oh, no. Don't worry about the fact that there are other colored cards on this table. The people, their people in the eye in the sky are going to tell you that the very fact that you're questioning gambling means that you're questioning your loyalty to fairness, when the American public is looking down and seeing the obvious, that all of this, whether it was Russian collusion, obstruction, the 25th Amendment, the Fine People hoax, now the Ukrainian hoax, that it all leads with an accusation, it all gets the headline, everybody says the walls are closing in, it's over, and when they ask for the proof and the facts, they don't have it, but here's a new headline. And it's all confirmation bias, and all of this is confirmation bias, except for the fact that when this goes to the Senate, they're going to actually have to follow real rules. The fact that Nadler cannot answer the question, well, what do you mean you're enforcing the rules of evidence? How? Well, enforcing the rules by enforcing the rules. What the fuck? What did you just not say? And they have it. And every time they're asking to show the American public what fairness looks like, it's 24 votes on one side and it's 17 votes on the other. 24 Congresspeople on that committee that said that Adam Schiff should not testify, when in reality he is a fact witness. And they're going to table that discussion for later for a date that they don't even want to talk about. This process is embarrassing as Americans with our freedom and our liberty on the line. It's very, very obvious what has been happening and what continues to happen. And what will continue to happen unless we come together as Americans and look around and say, do you realize that the very liberty of ourselves, of our own voices, of all of that, of our moms and dads and aunts and uncles and the people that we grew up with? And we'll stop this when I'm done. Hang on. All right, I'm back. It was not as fast as I thought it was going to be. And I hate to have edits in these because people are like, why did you edit? What are you trying to hide? That's the part we're at right now. Okay, people are reading into someone's actions before they even take the action. So again, to preserve our very freedoms, our First and Second, our Fourth and Fifth Amendment rights provided to us by our Constitution, one nation, under God, should we be looking at each other as citizens, as fellow brothers and sisters, as fellow parts of families, and in the same way we love the members of our family, so then we should love the members of our very, very citizenry, despite the fact that we have political differences, because I and many of us grew up in a time where you could have a political disagreement, you could have a philosophical disagreement, you could have a discussion that would end up in, well, either an improvement of the logic of what has been handled, or it is going to be a further devolution of emotion. Again, this is all about order. You're going to figure out over time with quantum AI, folks, that it's the mathematics and the fundamental position of the words in grammar as they actually exist that lead someone's feelings of them. And what we have is a society that believes their feelings exist prior to the word that they hear. And that if you don't take advantage of their feelings, then you're an enemy and you're another. And really, you want to know what's happening? Is the folks who have better control over how they use emotion are using your emotions against you. And that's why they have you hoodwinked into this right-left dilemma where everybody's calling each other conspiracy theory and people are choosing to hate the other side. When we used to be able to have discussions, now we have, you must be removed. If you're this, then you're that. If you think this, then you must do this. Again, it's all of this projection. And we're going to see Jerry Nadler's 20-year ago appearance, and when he stated that a bipartisan impeachment would tear apart the country, as he does his opening statement, as the video proof shown, that previous administrations have worked with foreign governments to work against their political rivals. And it's going to be once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's going to be just like the red and the blue cards on the table. You're going to know that it stank from all get out. And again, we used to be able to have a discussion. We used to be able to look at each other and be able to look at each other. And you have to, folks, it's not an accident that 3 years ago you didn't hate half the country. And now you do. You can't answer for it because it's your choice. It was your choice to do it. It was your choice to follow along with the mob. Maybe you did it out of fear because you didn't want the mob to turn on you. Maybe you did it because it was great for your business. Maybe you did it because that's what you really believe. You railed about bullying, and the first chance you got power, you turned into a bully. Is anybody surprised? No. And this is where we are. You've made that choice. So the rest of us who have decided not to hate half the country are sitting back and going, you know what? This fad, this hysteria, the Jinkos, bell bottoms, Juggalo, Limp Bizkit, Nirvana, disco, platforms, bell bottoms, whatever the fucking current culture of pop culture is, that this latest hysteria is going to be. It's the political version of Beatlemania. So for those of us who have studied mimetic theory, those of us who have studied artificial intelligence, those of us who have studied quantum computing, understand that the math is involved in this. The straightest information is found in the shortest point. And a straight line will always be stronger than a curved line. When we choose to use emotion before facts, and technically what you're saying is you're casting a lie about the fact by putting your emotion, real or unreal, legitimate or acted, and who's to say, because if you call you on it, you just fucking call us whatever you're going to call us anyways. So at some point, there are going to be the folks who believe in their heart of hearts that they're acting on this nation's best interest to preserve the institution of the presidency and the norms, and they really, really do believe that the fact that all of this is changing as fast as it is, the fact that the media and the mainstream media and the print media and the people on Twitter understand that really it's only about the accusation. It's about the headline. That's where they make their click money. That's why it drops at the most opportune time when it's found out that they've been lying or they misstated a fact or whatever it was, and they have to do their rebuttal. They do it at 3 o'clock in the morning. They add it to a story that they've already gotten all their clicks on, and all the mistakes only go one way. What are the odds? What are the odds that every single time they have a winning hand, they're using cards not from the deck that's being played with? And at some point, you're going to realize, because of the fact that they're able to track the foreign money involved that are influencing our very, well, we have international and we have domestic people who have chosen to work with foreign governments to bring upon a change in this country. They talk about replacement economies. They talk about replacement people. They talk about us losing our superiority. They already believe it's a foregone conclusion that this giant economy waiting, they would gladly take those pennies to sell your liberty out in a second. And those very, very people are going to be found that they were the ones who were trumpeting impeachment 19 minutes after he was sworn in, that the people even talking today were talking impeachment in 2017, that Nadler has been working on this by hook or by crook, whether it was Kavanaugh or if it was this or the litany of things that I've already listed off that have been provably proven false as a hoax. Accusation, headline, bombshell, fizzle. The walls are not closing in. This is not the end. All they want to do is damage this guy because they know they can't beat him. They don't have a horse in the game that can run with this dude. And now the party of inclusion is left with just stark white people. And then it's somebody else's fault. It's not the fact that they don't have a likable leader. They don't have a leader. Kamala Harris was supposed to win this until you found out how she got her job and you find out that she hid evidence to put people in jail, to take away their time for her career. And it's all laid out there, and that's not how a leader leads. What we're seeing today is not leadership. What we're seeing today is a last-ditch effort to make a nothing as exciting as the OJ trial was. And they're going to go down this road at their own peril, and they're going to be embarrassed in real time because, and we've spoken about this before, if you have an enemy, remember, everything they say that is being done, it's because they're doing. It's Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. Is it number 7? Go read the book. Okay? When Schiff said, as soon as he found out about Mueller, he was on that phone the next day, and he sold it, and he oversold it, and that's why it stood out. Come to find out, as soon as he's aware that Trump has this phone call with Zelensky, he's on the phone the next day hiring Charamella, who also is dating his daughter, according to a picture on Twitter. I don't know if that's real. I don't even know that Charamella is the whistleblower. But that's the name that's being bandied about. Did they go and get Nunes's and Giuliani's call records? Not via subpoena, because not a single subpoena has been sent. It's been a request for information. It's completely different. They're calling it the one thing, but it's not that. And they know it. Again, the cards are going to be laid out on the table. Did Schiff use this demand to go through AT&T to get the phone records of Nunes, to get the phone records of Giuliani, to get the phone records of whatever they could get their hands on? Because he knows that the phone records of his has already been done. And so when his own phone records are used against him, he's going to say the following. Well, they only did that to me because I was investigating them. It's been a revenge. Everything Trump does is a revenge. And then they're going to turn the cards over. And they go, well, you started looking at our phone records 4 months ago. We've been looking at you for 2 years. What were you doing in Aspen? And they know. And they have legal surveillance on all of these people who more than likely have shaken hands with a foreign power to sell out our very liberty. It is all hands on deck. It is patriots first. And you have people who love this country and the rule of law and the very, very land that they stand on. And the people who would gladly sell you out for a penny to align with a foreign power because it's going to give them more power, or it's going to save them money, or it's going to include a customer base that's way bigger than anyone they could ever imagine. And if they have to have some soft version of communism, then that's okay, because they're not going to be the ones who are getting spied on in a private message on an app like the Chinese police are doing with their own citizens. And now they got them ramped up in this metal cage that looks like a bumper car where the guy has to say, I'm drunk. I didn't. Well, no, he's not saying, hey, why were you spying on my private chat? On an internet, they have to use facial recognition, that they have to prove an ID on, that there is no anonymity in that system. And that's the system that is coming here, that will come here, that has been pre-prepared for, because it was all laid out. And when that 2016 election got undone, a lot of those plans got undone. And a lot of people who made promises were no longer able to keep those promises. And so what are you going to do, and how are you going to explain and spin away when you have very, very known sources, people that you lauded as heroes when their testimony was used in the Mueller report, when the other version of their text messages comes out, the ones that were hidden, the ones that were deleted, the ones they didn't want you to read, where they openly talked about the assassination of a sitting president, who in the foreign leadership and other countries that they've been working with to advance this agenda could they rely on? And how will you speak to that? And that is going to be where we find it. You're going to find that there was open sedition, open treason, that there was foreign money spent to sell seats of power so they could bring in Common Core to make our kids dumber, to denigrate the fine people of this country who protect and serve us, be it in law enforcement or the military, because of how they look or whatever they culturally represent, is all labeled under white nationalism or racism or fascism. Again, it's all an accusation with no follow through. But those checks have been cashed and that money has been traced. And if you were involved in human trafficking, if you were involved in sedition, if you were involved in treason, if you were involved in the selling out of this country, they know. And if you had an immense pile of wealth with that, they're going to take your shit. They're going to debank you. You might not even be able to stand on the very land that we're standing on right now. They can deperson you. They can debank you. They can deplatform you. And we've seen it because we've seen what's happening to the people who oppose the level of power that is quote unquote the deep state, that executive service level of employee who's been there for 30 years through president after president after president, except that Bush 1 was in the same game that Clinton was in, the same game that Bush was in, the same game that Obama was in. And now they got a person that wasn't playing the game. A guy who has the keys to domestic and foreign complicity in 9/11. Who's got the keys to JFK, who's got the keys to the wet works used in false flags. And if he wants to declassify it all, he can. And what, are you going to have a hero? Trump and Giuliani solve 9/11. Cue the ticker tape parade. Everyone fucking applauds. And then it's just like the Godfather 1, all right? You're going to have the ticker tape parade cut with a montage of people going to Gitmo, because they took that foreign money to sell us out. And no motion and no spin is going to undo those text messages, those emails, those human intelligence sources that are caught. And that, I believe, is where this is all going to lead. And the people on the right, there's people on the way right and people on the way left. And there's pessimists on both sides and there's optimists on both sides. And the realists are looking back and going, 3 years ago, no one would choose to hate half the country. And now people are choosing to. And the question is why? And the question is, what kind of manipulation was done in an algorithmic sense to get people to get to that point? Or did they know that the human animal can be, manipulated and have their emotions used against them? Because they know that's how it works. And that's where we're going in all of this. I didn't think this was going to be a near half-hour recording experience, but that's where we're at. I have many, many theories, and it's something that I'm working on, because everybody who tells you that they know, they don't know. For all we know, This is an 8-year false flag. In the same way the towers fell so they could bring in the Patriot Act and all of this illegal surveillance. They have an 8-year false flag against the presidency to bring down the executive office as a setup to find people acting in an anti-American fashion who sold out our liberty for money. And if they found out that happened, if they did spy on American citizens, if they did use foreign intel sources to get around 702 information and to get around the fact that you're not supposed to use our powers of surveillance and spying against citizens of this country, but other countries can spy on us. And if we ask them to spy on our people, then guess what? Nobody's breaking the law, except the fact that you're now colluding with a foreign power to investigate a political rival, which is what they're claiming is happening now. God bless America and enjoy your freedom while you have it. It could be all hands on deck. If they try to pull the parlor trick of trying to convince the Republican Party or those involved to not even show up to this meeting. Remember, it's 67% of the people who show up to vote. That's the real rule there. So if all of a sudden people on the right decide to stay home, well, then you don't need to flip 20 seats. And that would be the kind of wrestling gimmick that would be very, very impossible to unsee. And it would be all Patriots on deck, and it would be a very, very, very short-lived win. And if all of this was brought down because you needed to have some kind of a controlled civil war here in this country, that would be the kind of activity that you may orchestrate to get people to come and actually defend their liberty. Just keep your head in a swivel and keep watching this and read all of the testimony. Don't just take Chris Cuomo's lying face on it. Don't take Chris Matthews' other fucking side. Don't take Juan Williams lying over his pencil mustache like he does day in, day out. Because if you believe that every breath that this guy takes is illegal, you can only see the illegality in every motion that he has. And if you pre-see the illegality in everything he does, then you'll never see the fact that he's doing things that are the same things that every president has done. You're just butthurt because you didn't win. Because instead of actually building leaders that people believe in, you built up a cult of personality. Nobody wants Cory Booker. Nobody wants Kamala Harris. As much as I love Andrew Yang and the fact that he wants to monetize our data, our consumer data, and actually give us protections, you realize how much money and how much debt we could undo if we made money on every piece of data that we give in the internet that we use? It's an idea that needs to be brought upon. But the guy was fucking throwing whipped cream in somebody's mouth while they were kneeling down in front of them. And if that's not a meme waiting to happen, ladies and gentlemen, that will be the undoing of him. And so whether it's Joe Biden and his creepy whatever the heck he's talking about lady, or if it's Miss Warren and her open call against billionaires while her herself is a millionaire, while her plans cost more money than ever has existed. It's going to come down to the simple fact that when the American public looks at this, they're going to say, holy shit, there are people here not working on the best interests of the United States of America. They're working on the best interests of the corporate interests that are protecting China, that are protecting their concentration camps, that are protecting the body farming, that are protecting the fact that they're stealing kidneys and eyeballs out of the Uyghurs. And how can you unsee that? Because that's exactly what is happening, folks. And again, they're going to connect the dots of what this plan has been. This Marxist push to take away your liberty. And they're going to add to it assassination attempts, discussions of assassination attempts, coordination with the whistleblower, with the OIG. Horowitz's report is going to say whatever it says, and Durham's report is going to say whatever it says, and people are going to be indicted or people are not going to be indicted. And they're either going to prove to you that there's a two-level system of justice in here, and that we get one and the rich people get the other, and that's really how it goes. So fucking suck it up, buttercup, and go make your money and join the party of the protected. Or we're going to have to really, really, really come to a head here and decide that there are people who wake up every single morning who want the end of this country. And some of them live here, and some of them don't. And some of them are Americans, and some of them aren't. Some of them believe in one God, and some of them don't believe in any God. And some of them believe that their religion has the right to kill other religions or to subjugate them or to bring a law of the land that is not the law of the Constitution. And every time that religion rears its ugly head, if you say anything about the violence, be it somebody's getting stabbed up on a fucking bridge, or they're throwing gays off the roof in the Middle East, or they're throwing somebody off the third deck of the Mall of America, or they're beating people up at a bus station, that's what's happening. And if you say anything about it, they label you as something, and you're put into the basket of deplorables, and then your voice is minimized. And you will not be able to say anything when your freedoms and liberties are taken away from you, when all of this was sold out from under us by foreign money and foreign powers. And everybody's screaming that there's going to be a right-wing Nazi regime, when in reality, there's going to be a totalitarian left-wing communist regime that is going to be far worse. So either the military and the rule of law and the people who have been investigating this have found this, have been able to take the net so deep that it's going to be able to bring in every level of these people involved in education, involved in politics, involved in the media, involved in athletics, involved in banking, everything. And you're going to see that a very, very, very small group of people made a bad decision for this country. And the fact that you can't even question them on it is enough to know that what they've been doing is horrific. More than likely, they've been caught. Or again, it's just a false flag. All of these people are just acting to see that if our founding documents can stand in place with the advancement of technology. The woman who testified today said something to the effect of, they didn't know about computers, they didn't know about cables, they didn't know about the internet, but they knew about writing, and they knew about paperwork, and they knew about spying, and they knew about you know, if you wanted something to be hidden, you would put it someplace where nobody could see it, and if you didn't want it said, then you didn't say it. And they understood that. And so for them to say that we've advanced now, they want you to advance to the point where their emotion, their pre-existing accusation, trumps the very rule of law. Because for them, if they've been caught, it is a very, 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 very scary, dangerous situation. It's not strange that there's been a ton of money spent on Gitmo in the last couple of years. It is not an accident that a new regiment has been training for a year to go work at Gitmo, and they've being deployed. Who's going to end up there? I'd love to know. And I think we will. I think we will. God bless America. Now, you know what? I'm going to keep going. I forgot to plug my stuff. If you want to support the show, johntoll.net. That's where you're going to find my blog. That's where you're going to find, the videos that I put up. Whiskey and the Surfer, of course. This is Iron Brigade. You can find everything at rockfin.com/JT. If you go there and endorse the channel, well, every month that you endorse the channel, you get an entire platform's worth of entertainment, worth of information. If it's Ronnie Placone, if it's Graham Elwood, if it's Mike Cernovich, if it's Ben Askren, if it's the top MMA funny people like Adam Hunter, ton of comics on there, ton of great creators on there. You endorse this channel, rockfin.com/JT. They pay me in Raycoins. That's right. Get your crypto. Because remember, we're no longer going to have real money It's all going to be on a phone. It's all going to be on a chip. And in order for that to happen, you need to get the citizenry all on deck. In order to get them to agree that the implementation of what they demand for their own safety is done swiftly. So more than likely, we have two operations, people coming on deck to be very, very involved in the political process, while at the same time creating an event, creating some kind of an economic or financial hiccup where we demand some fix that magically already exists. Because again, the money has to go from paper to digital to in the phone to in your body to be connected to your biometrics, because that's going to be the only way to prove that your financial transactions are yours. And they know that. So work backwards and see the game for what it is. Anyways, weaponsgradefaith.com is where you're going to find the Pit Boss 2000 PC Death Squad merchandise. Prohibition 2000 merchandise is on there. I believe the new hoodie is going to be up soon. The I'm Straight Edge and I'll Murder You 90s reissue. There's a hat from PC Death Squad, a hat from Pit Boss 2000, the Dope 2000 Attack zip-ups. I've got one coming. And so weaponsgradefaith.com is how you get that. And thank you to everyone who has ordered. And thanks to the folks at Cold Cuts for putting this all together and working with us. And so thank you for being a part of this. Endorse the channel at Rockfin. Follow me on Twitter at RealJohnToll, Instagram at RealJohnToll. I have a BitChute channel. I have a YouTube channel. And anywhere you can find me, head on over there. And please do. And again, don't just let emotion lead in all of this. That's how people make dire decisions and ruin their lives. And if that's not how you lived 3 years ago, why is that how you're living right now? And that's a question for everybody. God bless. What up, nerds? Iron Brigade coming.